With that, we bring in Blaine Fowler, a regular Tuesday segment with Blaine as we look ahead to the matchup and talk about what will be on After Further Review tonight. But what's up, Blaine? How's it going?
It's all good, guys, except for it's like snowy and rainy and yucky out there.
It is outside.
I'm not ready for that.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for that. It's not going to be that for Saturday.
It's supposed to be really nice.
60s and sunny.
Yeah, when I saw this game on the schedule, I thought, oh, KC in November in Arrowhead. I've seen some miserable games played in that stadium and this time of year. And so when we see the advanced forecast that it's going to be nice, that's advantage BYU because BYU wants to throw the football. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Obviously, a lot going on with this matchup outside of football. So let me ask you this. How does everything that's happened in this week and all the news that go into it, how does that affect BYU going into this game, if at all?
I don't think that it has much impact on BYU other than they recognize that this game is going to be a game that's watched by a lot of people just out of sheer curiosity to see how Missouri comes out of this and how they play after what they've been through this last week. So outside of that, in terms of BYU's preparation, it's not any different for them at all. They've been full speed ahead, watching film, breaking down the same things, preparing the same way that they always do. So I think from BYU's perspective, it's not a different thing.
When you look at the other side of it, I guess the question would be, what type of effect does the last couple of days have on Missouri? Because, one of two things can happen. One is the events of the last couple of days can be a problem and Missouri just can't seem to find their footing, or it can be something that unites the team and they play better than they have. So what kind of an effect do you think we'll see out of Missouri on Saturday?
It's really hard. It's hard to say because they missed the whole day of preparation. We know that. So they missed a day of getting ready. This late in the season, does that have a big impact? I think it can, especially because BYU's a little different than some of the other teams they've played this year. But when I watch this team on film, I see a defense that's really good and looks like they're playing together. And I see an offense that from series to series, it looks like they're trying to figure out what they're doing. It's like they don't have a clue out there what they're doing. Wow. It's miserable offensively for them. They're 127th in the nation in scoring offense. There's only 127 teams, guys. So when I say they're bad, they're the worst.
They're the worst offense.
And their production it just hasn't been there, and it looks disjointed when I watch it. Here's what happens to teams like that. When you get this far into a season and one side of the ball is lights out, 11th in the country in total defense, really, really good.
And fourth in scoring.
Right. They're really good defensively. And when you watch them individually, they're really good on defense too. And then the offense isn't holding up their part of the bargain and you're not winning games. Now teams get divided. Now the offense, is the GOAT. And the defense, they're talking amongst themselves and they're saying, if the offense could do anything, maybe we could win a game. You start to get division. So when you have something that's bigger than football that you've got to deal with as a team, and you come together, there's a chance that could help in a way where they stop pointing fingers at each other. They recognize that they've got to support one another, and they play better because of it. So there absolutely could be that impact on this team because I promise you, when an offense is that bad and a defense is that good, there's some backbiting that has been going on that team. You cannot avoid it. There's no way. And maybe this ends that, and maybe they play a little looser on offense because they don't feel that pressure and they perform a little bit better. I don't know. That's a possibility of what could happen.
Blaine Fowler is on BYU Sports Nation. I feel that they'll rally. I really do. And that you're right. I think BYU needs to be careful because there's a chance that Missouri has. They're playing for something bigger. Our Twitter question today: what does BYU need to do to seize the moment versus Missouri? What do you think, Blaine?
I think that this defense for Missouri is respected. And so if BYU can go out and score, if they can even score 17 on this defense. So if they go 17,
I said in the 20s.
If they go into the 20s, then I think people are going to sit up and go, wow, with this freshman quarterback, this is a legit offense because they're playing against a legitimate defense. And so I think this is an opportunity for the offense to make a statement. Defensively, I don't know that you have to hold them down or then people are going to question you because they have been, in such a struggle to score points this year that if you don't hold them down, then people are going to question that. So in a way, there's a lot of pressure on BYU. To step up and show that the offense is as good as they are and for this defense to shut this offense down, for them to perform. But I think it would, if they can win, even though it's not a true road game, out in
Not so neutral.
Right, out in KC, I think that they can garner a lot of respect.
And BYU is somehow the favorite in this. I get that BYU is 7-2, but the travel, the neutral, the 4.5 point favorite right now.
Yeah, and that seems right to me. And people have come up to me and they say, well, if Matty Mock was not suspended, I'm going, did you watch games when he was playing? He was not playing well. So it didn't have anything to do with that. And I don't know about the chemistry in that offense or what it is, but it's just struggled. And that's a problem for this Missouri team. And it creates problems. And so for BYU, this is an interesting challenge too, because this defense from an ability perspective is very similar to Michigan, but different. So Michigan in the front seven is really big, and they maul you and they beat you up, and you really can't run right at them. The Missouri defense kills you with speed, even in the front seven. So it's a different challenge. It's a similar challenge because they're that good, but it's a different challenge because it's a very different skill set that this team has. The guys on the D-line, they're 6'3", 255-ish. They're not big monsters, but they will blow right by you before you can even get your hands on them. And a guy like Charles Harris, who's got 17 tackles for loss.
17.
And 7 sacks, and a guy like Brady Walter who plays alongside him, 10.5 tackles for loss. They get up the field and they create problems with their speed for you. So a very different challenge for BYU this week.
Well, this week in terms of offense for BYU, it should be helped getting some of these offensive linemen back. Tijon Karoma is going to be back. Riker Matthews is going to be back. A couple of others are questionable. But we saw this offensive line struggle last week at San Jose State. How much of a boost do you expect BYU's offense to have getting these guys back on the offensive line and securing that a little bit better?
Just having Tijon Karoma back is a big, big deal because he's your play caller and your confidence on the offensive line. He's the one that is going to come up and look at the defense and make a lucky call or a Ringo call or whatever they use so the linemen know where to go with confidence. So that's huge. And he's going to be back, and he wasn't hurt. So he's coming back 100%. So there's not any question, is his ankle going to be okay? How is he going to hold up with Riker? We just don't know how healthy he's going to be. But at least we know that Tijon Karoma is back and healthy. That's a huge improvement right there. And any additional thing of that is a bonus. They really struggled with 4 starters, basically, not on the field on that offensive line last week. So, hey, 2 would be great. And
it's at least 2 at this point.
Yeah, at least 2. Wilcox, I think, has been playing really, really well. And so, that gives you kind of anchors on both sides and somebody in the middle. I think you're going to be okay.
The guards are in question.
Yeah, I think you're going to be okay. And half of the battle up front is going confidently after where you're supposed to go. And if you got a center in there that gives you that confidence and makes that call, then you're going to be a little bit better.
Yeah, it really does start there against Michigan, in which you compared Missouri's defense to Michigan. BYU couldn't even get the ball off, let alone give the receivers a chance to catch the ball. BYU didn't run the ball effectively against San Jose State. So where do you see BYU's advantages in this game against Missouri? What matchups does BYU have advantages?
I think that BYU has been playing well. We forget that they played really well defensively against San Jose State.
9 points allowed by the defense.
And so that because the offense wasn't up to its normal expectation, and I do believe a lot of that had to do with who was missing in the offensive line, I think we just make this blanket statement that the team didn't play well. But I thought the defense played well. I think they progressed again. They were better than they've been. And so I think BYU defensively has the ability to really just shut this team down. And BYU's offense, defensively, does Missouri have the guys to be able to come up and press BYU? Yeah, they got the speed to do it, but they're not quite as big and physical in the secondary. It's a very different team. So Michigan comes up and they have big guys at corner and big guys at safety that come up and get your hands on your big receivers and don't let go. And so they caused them problems physically, where Missouri causes teams problems with their speed. I think BYU's more equipped to handle that with route running and getting off the ball than guys that just get into you and grab onto you.
That seems
and
more
don't
like
get off the ball.
UCLA,
right,
or Nebraska.
More
right?
similar. Right.
Well,
so,
Nebraska had some power.
From an effectiveness perspective, they're as good as Michigan. From a style perspective, they would be closer to a UCLA or somebody like that tries to match you up with speed defensively and not just overwhelm you with physical. And that's what Michigan does. And they're really good at it, by the way. And it's been proven over the whole year. I thought, are they that good? When they played BYU, they're that good.
Yeah.
They're that good.
Jeremy and I were discussing what really, besides just a win, what a win would mean for BYU. And you look at it, I mean, you're talking about a win over an SEC team, regardless of what the record of that team is. You're beating an SEC team in the month of November when people are paying a little bit more attention. It's on the road, even though it's neutral site, it probably gets you in the top 25. Are we making more out of what a win would mean to the Cougars?
It's huge because I agree with you. I think that it's their opportunity because of who's playing who in front of them to get back into the top 25. Now, every single time a score goes across the scroll on the bottom on ESPN, you're one of the ones that's mentioned. You're right back in the national conversation again, even if it's only ranked 25th. You got to be ranked for people to see that every time they watch a game. So it's huge. It's really, really big for them. And I think they're going to have a lot of extra eyes because people out of curiosity are going to be tuned in to say, man, I wonder how this Missouri team's going to react after all they've been through this last week. So there's going to be a lot of curiosity that way, and now those eyes are on BYU. So it's BYU's opportunity to shine, and it's their opportunity to get back into the top 25. No, you can't underestimate. You're not overselling it. I think it's big. It's a big, big game. And Missouri is a name team. So they're not great this year because they've struggled offensively. They're great defensively, but they've struggled offensively. But this is back-to-back defending SEC East champs. They didn't all of a sudden just have no athletes. Just all of a sudden they showed up this year, no athletes. No, they've got
athletes.
They've got athletes all over the place, but for some reason on the offensive side, they're just not all on the same page. And so I think people, even though they don't have a great record, would still very much respect a win against that caliber of athlete. If you just want to go position by position athletes, you could make the argument that this is the most talented team BYU will play, even though the record's not that good.
Interesting. And to me, it's the last big game left on the schedule. Thanks, Blaine. We appreciate the time.
Guys.
We'll see you tonight, 8 Eastern time.
All
We'll
right.
have further review.